gentlemen, ladies, Sandamtod here, back again, doing a response to a question. I saw the video first on cobradvs' channel. Actually, in my subs list, his was the first video of this that I saw. And I watched his vid, and I guess IntellivisionDude did it originally, so I'm basically doing a response to both of those guys. And if anybody wants to do a response, you can post them or me or whatever, or let's talk about some comments or whatever else. But anyway, the question stands. Basically, I don't know how it's worded or not worded, but I'm going to go with wording it this way. How picky are you when it comes to condition of your collection? You may or may not. I know some people like Mitch, Wasp Spray, and stuff have watched me since I very first kind of started doing videos. So they probably have seen the transition over time and not even realized it because they've watched so many videos. But when I started off, I would pretty much buy anything if it was cheap. It was more of a quantity versus quality type of mentality, but I didn't have as much stuff then either. And nowadays, it's a little bit different. I really liked what IntellivisionDude said in the first minute of his video about some of his games, and he said, you know, what's, you know, okay with him may not be okay with somebody else or whatever, but he doesn't mind if a game's got some shelfware, got some dings, and the box and things have some, you know, corners dented or whatever, because it's battle scars. You know, it gives the game character. It shows that it's been used and played, you know. And the stuff that he showed had obviously been what I consider and what I'm calling used but not abused, you know. And here's a used but not abused case. These are a couple out of my own library. Actually, it's hard for me to say because most of these I bought when I started recollecting. This is one of my only ones from my original kind of purchases back in the day, but it's my Final Fantasy III, and you can see that on the edges and on the sides there's some whiteness on the corners and stuff from opening and closing the boxes. The tabs are a little kind of, I don't know what the word is. I was going to say bristled, but I know that's not it. It's just the tabs are starting to kind of pull apart the layers of the cardboard and such. But it's obviously not been stepped on. It looks like I might have dropped it right here at one point and kind of gave it a little bit of a stress bend. But it's not in horrible shape. And most of the time when I look to buy things, this is kind of where I'm at. I'll deviate a little bit from this as far as quality, a little lower, a little higher. There are some games that I bought that I was perfectly fine with like a year and a half ago, that looking at them on my shelf now, I'm like, God damn, I need to get another copy of that. That sucker looks horrible. But really right now I am buying complete. I want the game to be complete, you know, CIB, complete in the box with the directions. And quality can range on it if it's complete. If it's complete, I'll give a little bit on the quality if it's complete. But what I've learned is most of the time where I'm pickier on the quality is on when I buy stuff on the internet. If I'm out in public and I see something, and I pretty much, you know, me and Big Daddy Darth and a few guys pretty much fleece the Kansas City metro area of most good stuff, I think. But when you go out and you're looking at stuff, you're more likely to pick something up that's a little lower quality, maybe, because you haven't seen it, you know, in the box and it's complete, and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, you know, it's a little bit less quality than I normally would dig, but it's not, you know, if it was marked like way high, I wouldn't buy it. But if it was marked for a price I considered reasonable and it was complete and I looked at it and the damage wasn't too bad, I mean, I'd probably go ahead and pick it up. It seems like most of the ones that I have that are really badly kind of damaged, and the ones that are in really good shape, I got from ordering on the internet. Either they're in, you know, fair or poor condition, or they're in really, good or really good condition. There's very few that I consider almost flawless. But anyway, here's the Final Fantasy. I'll go ahead and open it or sitting here. This is one from my original collection. And I know, I just pulled on it from the middle, and there is a stress bend on this flap. But that's from me over time opening it and shutting it, things like that. The tray is in great shape. It's not damaged at all. The game has a cover. Both labels look brand new. The game itself looks almost brand new. I mean, other than taking it out of this box to put it in the machine and leaving it in the machine and playing it till I beat it, and then putting it back in the box, I don't think I've done a lot with it. So, but here's the instruction booklet. This is something that cobradvs might have passed on unless he got a really great deal. But it's got those those dog-eared lines where it's obviously been folded, on both corners of the instruction booklet. But none of the pages within the instruction booklet are dog-eared or anything, so it's not too bad. Back cover's not dog-eared, but this is my original, too. You might have a different affinity for the original because it's your original from you have nostalgia with it or whatever. It's like this map's been through it as well a little bit. It looks like at one point I had used some Scotch tape on it, and it's obvious that the Scotch tape is yellowed over time. This is probably 20 years ago, when I did that. But it's just from folding it and unfolding it so many times to keep it with the box. Nowadays, I would probably download a map and just leave this one in the box and not open it and shut it that many times. Or, I've also thought about scanning these and then getting a new one. My battery's going to run out, so I'm going to have to change batteries. I'm using the other cam instead of the flip. Alright, this battery says it's charged, but who the hell knows, so we better get into it. You kind of can tell over time, too, because back when I very first started getting back into recollecting, other than just the stuff I bought when I was a kid and up, when I dove back into it, I mainly started buying Nintendo cartridges, 8-bit Nintendo cartridges, because that's the system that I had the most nostalgia for. And when I did that, initially I was just buying the cards. And nowadays I wouldn't buy a loose cart unless it's a no-clipper. Here's a no-clipper. Or 5-screw. It's got your 5 screw holes. You guys probably know what they are, but I'm just pointing it out. This is a Silver Seal Donkey Kong. That guy still got that fucking one online for $3.5 million on Amazon. Complete! This one's actually got a little bit of a scar. It looks like something that you would do with like a hot pin or a soldering iron and accidentally kind of gouge into the plastic. Just ever so small, but still, I don't know that I noticed it. I was more concerned with the label, I think, which the label's I don't know if it's perfect. It's got some little scuffages on it, but it's not gouged or peeling up on any sides, and it doesn't have any problems like that. But nowadays, unless it's a no-clip game, I'm not buying loose cart stuff, unless it's really rare. I think the last no-cart game I really remember, other than buying no-clips, was I found a copy of RC Pro-Am 2 at the Belton vintage stock. And RC Pro-Am 2 is a little harder to get. It's a little rarer than your average game. And they wanted like $23 for it or something, loose cart. And I went in and paid for it because I didn't think... I wanted to get a box copy at that point, but I thought, you're not going to find a box copy for probably under 60 or 70. And to get the cart, just the cart, was cool for whatever I said. I don't even remember, but I know it was like 20-something, around 25 or whatever I said. I don't even know. But this is another one that I picked up out at the Belton store. This is my Final Fantasy II. Now, this one, actually, for all intents and purposes, the box is about in the same shape as my Final Fantasy III, used but not abused, and everything. This one is complete as well. I can't speak to the tray. Let me look at it. Tray's in good shape. The actual cart, let me get it up in camera here. The actual cart label looks good on. Pins look good. cobradvs was talking about that distinct smell of smoke from a smoker's home to yours. That cigarette smoke smell you can get sometimes in old cardboard and manuals and stuff that is really hard to get rid of. I've been pretty fortunate about that. I don't personally smoke, and it's just one of those things that this instruction book is actually in a little better shape. But I would buy stuff that has a cigarette smoke smell and deal with it if the price was good. But yeah, this instruction booklet's actually in better shape. A little dog earring. That means, to me, that means somebody actually took the time to look through the book. I dropped the map. Hold on. Ah. And then here's a Final Fantasy II map. Map sheet. I don't know if this one had a second map sheet. I know, like, the original Final Fantasy had two map. It had an enemy sheet and a map, and on the back of one of them, it had all the spells and weapons listed, and who could use them and who couldn't, and all those goodies. But this is about what I look for when I go out to buy something that's in this condition. Sometimes I'll buy things in a little worse condition, and you always hope for stuff in the best possible condition. But this is about in the wheelhouse of where I like to be. Used but not abused. If it was missing one of these side flaps, nah, I'm out. On any box. That's where I can tell some of these that I was collecting early on, and I'll show you that one next that I'm thinking about. And it's this Nintendo. This was one of my favorite Nintendo classics back in the day. But this one has definitely been worked. I think I was just happy to get a box copy for a decent price. So I didn't really worry. And back in the day, they could, the condition, on eBay was kind of relative. It might be better nowadays. I don't buy on eBay usually anymore. But here it is, Ultimate Exodus. I love this game. I just wanted to get a copy of it. But you can see here, the side, I don't know about the lighting, but there's obviously a stress fold here where it looks like it maybe got stepped on. Up here, that whole corner, both corner flaps on this top of this box are missing. I would never buy one like this now. But it is complete. I know I have the directions. Yeah, they're in here. I think what it was is at the time I didn't have the box. I had the directions and a loose cart, but I didn't have the box. So it seems silly because I'm going back and buying stuff. Basically, I'm buying cardboard for not ungodly amounts of money, but for, what should cardboard really cost us, folks, in the scheme of things. But this would be in my fair pile. And this would be in my, I need to get a better copy of this pile. Quality like this, or worse, anything worse than this, or at this quality would definitely be in my, I want to find another one of those sometime file. Here's another one. This is a Sega CD game. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I had seen one of the games that came in the cardboard box, and that's why I bought it. Because this box is in wrecked shape. But Prince of Persia for the Sega CD, you can see here on the side it had been really crushed here, and this flap had been was really soft, so it's obviously been folded and unfolded a ton of times. Even though the game actually comes out of the bottom of the box, most of the Sega CD games, the games came out of the bottom. But it's obviously been folded. It's missing one of the tabs at the top. And, you know, you can kind of do... This is up to you at your own risk. You know, if you're a reseller, you probably wouldn't try it. But all the stuff that I buy is for my own collection. So what I do with things that have been crushed like this, or if the flap is really weak, is I'll take some Elmer's glue and like a hobby paintbrush and just lightly brush this flap where it's been stressed on the inside, and then lay it as flat as possible. You know, put something on this part of the flap and this, and just let it dry solid, and then that actually gives some durability to that flap again, and lets the box be more square as opposed to crushed. And I've done this with a few. I've done it with a couple Sega CD boxes like this one. This one actually used to have really bad shape. It's actually in better shape because I did the Elmer's glue trick on this flap all the way down on the inside, and this. If it had the little fold-in flap, this would actually not be too bad. But this is the worst boxed Sega CD game I have. Okay, let's see where we're at. You usually run into this problem with cart games because usually the disc games came in plastic cases that were a little more built to protect the product, which discs are more fragile, but it seemed like the cases were more for show, more for collecting, as opposed to Nintendo boxes and stuff, which, you know, pretty much seemed like they were disposable. Same thing, like all the Nintendo boxes up through to the GameCube seemed like they just made them as packaging. You know, they're cardboard, they're cheap, you know, and they get dinged up quite easily. Sega was nice enough to give us the plastic snapshot clamshells with the Sega Master System and the Sega Genesis. And they went cheap on the 32X and had the cardboard boxes. Those are horrible too. So, here's another case of something that you may have a game that's not the greatest quality, but you keep it because it's your original. This is my original Ninja Gaiden. It's funny because I just commented on Mike Gardner's video where he had gotten a big haul of Nintendo games, and he was saying that he didn't know how to say it. And I've heard it lots of ways. I've always said Gaiden, so I mean, I don't know. This flap has obviously got some stress. I don't know why, but this back has been gouged a couple times. It looks like with a screwdriver or something. I don't know why. The game's perfectly fine, but the card itself looks a little gouged. Or not cart, the box. Actually, funny story about this game. I had this game, and I loaned it to a friend of mine, and then I was going over to his house to stay the night, and another friend of ours that lived up the street couldn't stay the night, but he had loaned him my Ninja Gaiden game, the one that's in this box, for the night, because we were going to be playing Ultimate Exodus and some other games, and we weren't going to be playing it anyway. Well, my buddy, he was a friend of mine too, but the buddy that he loaned it to saw me on the way over there on my bike. He's like, yeah, I borrowed Ninja Gaiden from him because he said you guys are going to be playing it. I'm like, yeah, no problem, whatever. This game disappeared for months. The kid went over to his sister's house, an older sister, and the kid, I'm saying like 14, 15, went over to his sister's house and left it over there, and it just took forever for him to get it back from her. And so after I got it back, I never loaned out this particular game especially again. So, but I will keep this one, and I won't buy another copy, even though it's gouged and stuff, because this is my original. So, and And then finally, one of the, well, not finally, there's two more phases here. Sorry, this video is probably 3 times as long as those other two guys' videos. I noticed when I started collecting for 3DO, which I love the 3DO, that it's a problem with the cardboard as well on these. They'll get stressed and stuff on the side, but here's one example. This game I bought new and sealed, and that's Sewer Shark. And to find a new sealed copy of this game is ridiculous, because for some reason on the 3DO it wasn't. Like they packaged it with the Sega CD, so it seemed like everybody had a copy of it and whatever. But on the 3DO, it wasn't a pack-in or anything, so you had to buy it. And it just seems like they didn't make as many copies of it or something. So I was just wanting one in the box, and it seemed like they kept coming up like $40, $60, missing book, you know, stuff like that. And so this one came up, and I think it was under. I made a video about it. Well, I don't know what it's called. Hell, it's in my catalog of videos. But it was like a $20. Let's say $20 for this brand new sealed. And you know, I was like, all right. And I go, it is the 3DO one, right? It's not the Sega CD one. And he's like, yeah, it says 3DO on the box. Da, 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 da. So I get it. And even though it's been sealed, it's still, you can still get damage. And this is proof positive. It was kind of not gorged or gouged or whatever through the plastic with something, because there's a nice indented like scratch on the front of it here. It looks like it was dropped here because there's some of that, like, you know, I explained it with the Final Fantasy game. And you know, I mean, the overall, it's probably, if I had to rate it, I'd say it's like a, you know, very good, you know, not excellent condition. I usually kind of have my own rating system in my head. That makes for things, that makes for things being easier. But the instruction booklet's brand new. The disc was brand new. And it looks pretty awesome. And I played it, and I dig this one. It's different than the one I was used to, which was the Sega CD one, because the music's different. And they put the targeting thing, not targeting thing, but the navigator thing at the bottom of the screen. It's at the top on the other one, so it made for a little confusion in the beginning, but that's neither here nor there. The pictures of the game itself on the back look great, definitely compared to the Sega CD, kind of really grainy pictures that they had on there for the full motion video. And I did a comparison video of this game, so I'm going to quit talking about it. But this is a case where even though it was sealed, it still has, you know, some stress damage. And then here's a couple. This is kind of where I'm at now, and this is where I buy, you know, where I'm at when I buy things. Like I said, it's so hard. It's easier to kind of give a little bit on the quality when you're looking at it in person than on the internet. You expect more when somebody tells you that it's in near mint condition. You expect more out of it, you know. So here's a couple that I consider in very good condition. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call them near mint. I hasten to call anything near mint or mint, but here's a Super Mario 2. I think I got this from one of the vintage stocks, and they had shrink wrapped it. So what I did is just slit the shrink wrap along the top and kept the remainder, most of the shrink wrap, on the actual game, which helps preserve that box a little better. But it's complete as well. You can see in there. It's got the game. It actually has some kind of poster, it looks like, with it too. Yeah, it's got instruction booklet and Nintendo Power subscription, epilepsy warning, and a poster. I don't remember the poster. I kind of do now. It's kind of a shot of the different Nintendos. It doesn't have a top loader on it. I don't know why. It's kind of a neat looking picture though. You think they got the Super Nintendo on it and it's an 8-bit Nintendo game. You think they would have put the top loader on there. But they didn't. let me put it back in the box and on camera and waste your time. All right, and then this is the last one. This was one of the best quality, and still is one of the best quality boxes I've ever gotten ordering. And this was an eBay order. And if you could get them all in this condition, you'd be in hog heaven. Um, it's Magica Shahrazad. This game's kind of a Prince of Persia-y style game with some role-playing and some action elements in it. It's kind of like a mix between like a Zelda style and like a Dragon Warrior. Sometimes you're doing like party system battling, and sometimes you're just doing action, more action type stuff. But this box is not stress fractured in any way. The edges on it are crisp. There's no fraying on it or anything. Both flaps are, well, there's no flap on the bottom. Flap on the top is unscarred. There's no bends in it or anything. Actually, it's almost stiff to open it. I always baby this game. And, you know, this game to me was one of my kind of like games that I dug, that I would tell other people about, and they would be like, huh? You know, and they'd never play it. But I thought this game was really good. And the music in it's really great, too. Instruction booklet, flawless. Everything on this game is perfect. I mean, I think I only got it for like under $10. I don't even remember exactly, you know. It's hard for me to say unless I started keeping track. But this quality here is what I strive for, and it's rare to see it. But that's about it. I mean, really, over time, my opinions changed. If it's complete, I'll give a little bit on the quality. But if it's like this Ultima or whatever, where you're seeing the raw cardboard and it's missing flaps and stuff, nowadays I wouldn't even buy this. First off, and then if it's already in my collection, I'm looking to get a replacement. And that's about it. Thanks to IntellivisionDude and cobradvs for putting the question out there. And I'm going to sign off. I know this is going to be like freaking 25 minutes talking about condition. So just tell me below what you tend to go for as far as condition goes. Feel free to make a video if you want. It doesn't have to be 25 minutes long. I think IntellivisionDude's was only like 6.5 minutes, and he definitely got his point across. And I'm just a waffler. I sit and I waffle and wobble on and talk about stupid crap, and it ends up being super long. So anyway, any and all new subs, thanks for coming by. I haven't had many pickups as of late. I've been answering more questions. I did do a little bit of a Prince of Persia gameplay. You may want to check that out. I'm also going to probably piggyback this video with a small pickups video, and I'll show some of the stuff I bought, condition that I let slide. So we'll get off here. Thanks for coming by and checking out old Adam's videos, and we'll see you next one. Bye.